Hi, and welcome to my sewing room. My name's Leah, and I'm on week 37 of my UFO challenge, where I've challenged myself to sew at least 15 minutes a day on my unfinished projects. And this week, I have a finish. I finally finished my Pythagoras Lute paper piecing project. After several weeks of working on it, and with a few ups and downs, I put the last stitch in it on Tuesday. I did spend more than 15 minutes a day near the end, as it took me a little longer to quilt it than 15 minutes, but I'm glad I did. I'm loving how it turned out. Let me walk you through to how I finished. I started off by sewing the end pieces to all my wedges. I did a quick check to make sure all my points matched up, and then I sewed 4 sets of pairs together. But before I could add the last 2 wedges, I needed to make another H and an I set to replace the one that I lost. That way I could finish my very last wedge. It went together with a little help from Boonky, and after a quick press and a trim, I got my final wedge sewn together. I didn't sew these 2 together like the others though, as that would have given me 5 pairs, and I wanted to have 4 sections to sew together, and then narrow it down to 2, and then finally I would have a complete top. I felt there would be less hanging off the machine that way. So I made 2 sets with 3 wedges. I sewed those to the pair of 2 wedges, and I ended up with 2 sets of 5 wedges, or 2 halves of a quilt top. 1 more seam and the top was done. I pulled a fun print star for the backing, and it was wide enough to cover the whole quilt, so there was no extra piecing for that. It took me a little bit to decide on how to quilt it. At first I contemplated doing feathers in all the different colorways, and even thought about changing threads out. But I really felt like it needed straight line stitching, so I decided to stitch in the ditch, or close to the ditch because some of my seams are open. I'm still not great at straight lines, but this was some good practice for me, and it still turned out pretty good. Next came the binding, and this quilt has a lot of odd angles. I've quilted odd angles before, but it's been a while since I've done it, so I had to have a little refresher from YouTube. And after watching that, I was good to go. I decided to go with a black binding, almost like it's a black frame all the way around the quilt. I'm so glad this one is finished, and I love all the tiny stars. I'll leave this one out on display for a couple days, but then it'll be time to swap everything out for fall. So I'll put this with my summer decorations, and I'll rotate it in with my summer decor. And with this UFO complete, it's time to pick another one. I went to the random generator again for this one, and this time it picked number 3. Number 3 is my Flying Colors UFO. This was a kit I had won off the internet many years ago. My best guess is that it's from 2010. This is also one of the kits that I had cut up just a few weeks ago when I was prepping 5 different projects for sewing, like meal prep. I'll post a link to that video in the description below in case you're interested in watching how I did that. So with all the pieces already cut out, the hard part is already done, and I can get right to the sewing. It's always fun to have a finish, and it's just as fun to start or pick up another UFO. What do you do when you finish a project? Do you jump right in and start a new one, or do you take a little bit of time off before you pick up a new one? Let me know in the comments below, and come back next week to see how far I get on my newest UFO. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy sewing.